Hey, what's up guys? A lot of you have been wondering what my team for the Entei event is going to be, and that's what I'm going to go through with you guys today in this video. Now I still have about 5 sleep sessions left before the Entei event. I expect 2 of them to be snoozing, so I'm hoping still to catch something better. I am still short on a good Vulpix. That none of my Vulpix have been usable so far, which is not a big deal as long as, well, the rest of my team do a good job, and maybe I'll have something in Vulpix's place or Ninetales' place, which will help me complete dishes better, or maybe have a healer. Anyway, we'll see. So my team is not completely set, but just to give you guys an idea, so that maybe this will help you guys prepare for the event as well. I will also do this video with Piggy's account within the next few days, so you can see what I recommend for Piggy to run for her team. Now, of course, because it's Entei event, we want to focus on using more fire types, especially the usually meta relevant ones. For example, Typhlosion. Vulpix Ninetales comes very close to Typhlosion as well, so it's definitely worth having one on the team if you got a good one. So that's where we're gonna start. Now, as you guys might know, that my Cyndaquils, my good Cyndaquils, only started coming in since the fire event. So I got 2 of them that I've decided that I will choose, but which one is actually better will depend on the situation and how I decide to invest. And we will be looking at the calculator to see how strong these 2 options are. So this is Speedaquill. Helping bonus, we covered that a lot lately. Helping bonus, I personally see it as a 33% increase in productions, so that's really good. If I add helping speed M, assuming that I can make it to level 50 before the event, these 2 will give it as much speed as having a single berry finding S for the berry production. In fact, maybe slightly better. But on top of that, this Cyndaquil has an amazing nature, the best nature that I could get for any berry specialist. Ingredient finding down, speed of help up. Of course, for this event, it's actually not a bad idea to have some ingredients as well, especially when my focus is going to be cooking keema corn curry, which has a huge demand for herbs. It will also need some gingers, so having ingredient finder is not bad for the Entei event. But the great thing about this Cyndaquil is that outside of the event, it's going to be absolutely nuts. So not only do I get basically a berry finding from these 2 stats alone, I also get more ingredients in total. So not the ingredient rate, I'm not changing the ingredient rate, I'm just getting more ingredients in total, but also more skills trigger. The dilemma though is my other Cyndaquil, which I'm named Cyndaquest. Now the ingredient list is pretty much the same, except for level 60, but I'm not too worried about level 60 at this stage. It has berry finding S, which is an extra 50% production on its berry output. And then I'm going to count this as helping speed M. So it does have speed as well in both the nature and sub skill. So it's really powerful too. Unfortunately, for this Cyndaquil, it has inventory, which is not really needed, and ingredient finder at a later point, which is actually detrimental. Whereas with Speedaquill, it only seems to get better as time goes on with more helping speed. Of course, the research EXP and inventory aren't really that useful. So this is where I actually have to use the calculator to see which one is going to do better. The tricky part of this is the one that has more speed will produce extra strength from ingredients and from skills. So it depends also whether I set a high skill level. The one that has less speed but has berry finding is going to do better when it's favorite berry. So for example, at Taupe Hollow or during the Entei event, which is basically the long-term focus of berry specialists like Cyndaquil. Short to medium term, it's good to choose one that has very high speed because you might want to use it everywhere outside of islands that match the favorite berry typing. But my account generally has berry specialists for each area already. So the focus is going to be looking at favorite berry and seeing which one will do better. We're going to use production comparison because we're comparing one Pokemon to another. But if you actually want to look at the strength output of your Pokemon, make sure you use the team analysis instead. I'm going to pick Typhlosion because I plan to have the final evolution by the start of the event. For my first Typhlosion, I'm going to have helping bonus, research EXP, helping speed M, helping speed S, and then inventory up L. Then we've got the nature, which is adamant, And I'm going to leave it at level 3 main skill for now, just so we can see the different circumstances. And I do have Fire Favorite Berry set on, and I'm going to set an arbitrary 8.5 hours of sleep. I'm going to assume that both Typhlosions will have maximum healing all day, every day. I'm going to set my meals as neutral, basically not cooking any meals, so the ingredients will count only as their base strength. Then I press this button here to copy over my Typhlosion, so I only have to change a few things. The one thing that's a little tricky about this Cinderquest though, is that it's got inventory S at level 25, so when I get it up to level 50 and I use a sub-skill seed on it, I might have to end up using 2 more sub-skill seed because inventory might go up when I'm trying to get the sub-skill helping speed to go up. So if I assume a worst case scenario and I do get up to inventory L and then getting helping speed M, and then at some point I'll have ingredient finder and then skill trigger. We're not actually going to look at the level 75 and 100 at this moment, and I'll also leave this one at level 3 main skill. I'm going to change the nature and it's going to be lonely. And then I have to double check our helping bonus settings. So we're going to set that to empty because we want to count helping bonus as sort of like a 25% speed boost. The calculator doesn't use 25%, it uses 23% as sort of an average. You can see what happens when you have 4 helping bonus Pokemon. So then my helping bonus Typhlosion will produce 67,000 in terms of strength. But of course, if I have this setting on 4, then it will also buff the other Typhlosion. So what I'll do, just as an estimate, I'm going to take that off. So it's empty. And you can see that my berry finding S1 is better if I have favorite berry on and I don't invest main skill seeds. But that situation could change if I take off the favorite berry and then I also invest main skill seeds. So let's say I decide to maximize skill output and I have, now don't forget that skill output is overvalued in this calculator. That's the only way to actually accurately measure them. So just keep that in mind. Even if the helping bonus one does end up having more total strength, that number assumes a lot of things like you are able to collect every single trigger on the Typhlosion throughout the day, which is harder to use in my opinion than one that focuses berries rather than try to focus skills. So my berry output is 311 berries for my helping bonus for Speediquill, and then I've got 342 berries for my Cinderquest. Of course, with helping bonus, these 2 strength value have gone up as well. So you can see a total of about 4,800 ingredient strength and 19,000 skill strength, whereas there's a lot less skill strength from Typhlosion, which is the one that's overvalued in the calculator. And you know what, not too far off with the ingredient strength. What's interesting is that the ingredient strength is actually close despite Speediquill having helping bonus. And that's because it's got ingredient finding down, which is normally a good thing. So if it didn't have ingredient finding down, it would have more total ingredient strength than the other Typhlosion. So what that ingredient finding down is trying to do is trying to give us more berries, which is fine. But it doesn't actually beat the berries from the berry finding S1, because don't forget that this berry finding S1 also has speed up. So I think given the high cost of having to invest 4 main skill seeds on Speediquill, and also it being situational where it would be better, not necessarily better, I'm going to go with Cinderquest, which is necessarily better, especially if it's favorite berry. For example, like this, if I turn on fire type favorite berry, you can see that it's necessarily better, but also I don't actually need to invest that many main seeds for it to be amazing. I might for the Entei event just to power up Entei, but I don't have to. So the decision is decided. I will be choosing Cinderquest for Entei event as my main fire berry farmer. But I gotta say, I am not getting rid of Speediquill at all. I will be keeping it for a while because it's got really good stats, almost keeping up with my berry finding one. Will I use it for the Entei event? That I haven't decided yet. Could I invest it all the way to at least a Quilava or a Typhlosion and then just keeping the investments minimum from then on? Look, I don't think so, because I would rather put all those resources into one Typhlosion, but if I can't find a good Vulpix, it could be a solution for that last team member slot on my team. Or I could just use an E4E healer, energy for everyone healer. Well, that's actually a useless skill if you're a whale and have hundreds of pillows. So I've been saving my pillows for a long time. So you don't have to be a whale to have enough pillows for the start of the Entei event. Don't forget that using your resources at the start of the event is more important than using it towards the end of the event, because the effects will roll over to the next day and for the rest of the event with a higher drowsy power. So try and achieve as high a drowsy power as you can. So if you've got 20 pillows, don't use a healer in the first few days, just use pillows. So that means Cyndaquil is my main farmer. I'm going to remove Cyndaquil from this team and replace it with, well, we'll find out. For now, I'm going to put my best healer on the team, the one that actually has helping bonus as well, so it'll power up the rest of the team, Roltz Disney. So Roltz Disney has helping bonus, it has main skill chance up, it has corn, but remember the ingredient drops from non-fire types won't get the +1 additional ingredient drop, so that's not very helpful. But at least this skill in actuality is providing the rest of the team with strength. So it's always been the case, if the rest of the team is actually powerful, helping bonus is even better. And of course, needless to say, energy for everyone powers up the whole team. You'll be seeing Roltz Disney towards the end of the week if I run out of pillows. So that now that I have herbs sorted, kind of, not really, because it won't be enough herbs, I will now need to sort out my sausages, because that's what keema corn curry needs. A lot of herbs, a lot of sausages, then some gingers, and some corn. Cyndaquil will provide me with some ginger, so I think it will be enough. For sausages though, we'll need a lot, and thankfully, my Charizard from the start of the game is mono sausage up to level 30. At level 60, I'll be in trouble for sausages, but I'm not worried about that at this stage. I'm just worried about the Entei event. This investment was done a long time ago, well before we fully understood the game. And look, I can't say that I fully understand the game. I feel like every week I'm learning something new, and then the game is always changing. So this is a very skill-focused Charizard, but it does have speed. So speed is good for all categories. So I'm not too upset about this, especially because with the double sausage that I'll get for the Entei event, and the fact that it is a fire type, each of these sausages will get an extra +1, and of course it's fire favorite berry too. I am considering getting it up to level 50 so I get some extra ingredients, but don't forget that during the event, the skill trigger rate and also the skill level will increase, especially in the second week. I would actually get this to level 5 if I get level 50, which is a good benefit for the first week, but in the second week, it actually has no benefit. So am I in a rush to get it to level 50? I'm thinking about it. I'm not 100% decided that I would invest just yet. Right now, with all my resources from Charizard candies, I can get it up to level 48. Then I'll need maybe another 100 or 200 to get it up to level 50. I should have enough resources for it, but I also want to spend them on Typhlosion. So we'll see, but this will be my sausage farmer, and I'll have no dramas, no troubles getting enough sausages for the keema corn curry. In fact, it will be so good that I'll probably have to switch it out to cover some other ingredients, or maybe change in the other Cyndaquil for more berries. Which brings up an interesting point. How does this Charizard at its level 50 compare to a mediocre Speedaquil? Because of the higher level of the berry, will it beat Speedaquil in berry finding? I don't think so, let's find out. So remember this page, the first one was Speedaquil, the second one is Cyndaquil. So Cyndaquil I'm already pretty certain I'll be using for the Entei event. For Speedaquil, I am considering, I'm not sure yet, possibly investing it to a medium level for some additional fire berries. But so what I'm comparing then is it worth having this one in place of Charizard for those fire berries. So now we need to reduce Typhlosion's level to a mediocre level, let's say about level 30. Why level 30, you might ask? Well, Typhlosion evolves at levels 27, but also it gets herbs at level 30, so there's some additional herbs there as well, which could be quite needed depending on the rest of my team. Let's have a look at my Charizard. So in this case, we're comparing a level 30 Typhlosion to a level 50 Charizard. At level 50, it will have level 5 main skill, naturally because of skill level up. Now, I'm going to assume that I have way too many sausages at this stage, unless I've got some sort of expand pot specialist on my team, like Flareon. I'm really just comparing berry output at this stage. So my berry output from Charizard is 20,000. For Speediquil at level 30, it is 28,000. So it is actually worth me changing out Charizard for Speediquil even at a low level in order to get more berry strength. Now remember that berries don't have a limit. You can keep feeding Snorlax infinitely with berries. You just can't do that with ingredients. So I'm assuming that the pot has already filled with all my sausages from before the switching out, so that none of the ingredients actually count towards the strength. So that's why I'm comparing it like this. Of course, if you actually count the ingredients as well, so in this case, the berries and ingredients added together on Typhlosion, it will be about 32,000 in strength. Whereas Charizard, assuming that I can fit the rest of the sausages in the pot, it will get about 31,000 in strength. Now to me, ingredient magnet is just worth as extra ingredients, and that's because, well, we can't predict what comes out. So largely, as long as you farm enough ingredients for the base dishes, the extra ingredients from the magnet are just fillers to the pot. So at level 50 Charizard, 36,000 strength compared to my Speediquil, 48,000 strength. Now let me just remove the 4 main skill seeds because I'm not going to feed 4 main skill seeds on a mediocre Typhlosion. So 36,000 in strength. As it turns out, they're about the same. So after all those considerations, it doesn't feel like it's worth starting a second investment for Typhlosion when I could put those resources in my Cinder Quest, my main Typhlosion, and definitely not worth another 4 main skill seeds for a mediocre one that I'm not going to invest all the way. When it turns out that if I could fit all the ingredients in the pot, well, the Charizard is just about the same as Typhlosion in terms of strength output. Now, all this is undervaluing Charizard because I haven't given it a recipe. If I give the calculator a recipe, so I go to my settings and I set curries and I set it to a level 35 keema corn curry, assuming I can cook it 3 times a day, then the ingredient strength goes up significantly for Charizard because the sausages are worth something. What I was saying before was counting sausages as extra ingredients because I'm just so confident that I'll have enough sausages anyway, so then it wouldn't have benefited the pot beyond the base strength. So now this number reflects if I also consider Charizard as actually adding material to the pot that completes a recipe. But don't forget that Typhlosion also does. So the ingredient strength for Typhlosion, considering keema corn curry, also went up. So I think it's pretty clear cut for me that it's worth considering investing this to level 50, even if it's the first week that gets the main skill trigger boost because of the skill level up M to get that up to level 6 with the event boost. With so much ingredients at level 6 main skill trigger of the Charizard, which without the event bonus triggers about 2 times a day, with the event bonus maybe about 3 times a day, I might need to then look at a cooking pot power up S, Flareon, because Flareon is matching the favorite berry. So let's have a look at my Flareon options. I've chosen this Eevee here. I used to think that this was a candidate mainly for Umbreon because it has main skill chance down, and the only evolution that doesn't actually need main skill is Umbreon, because Umbreon does way too much skill trigger for what's actually needed of its skill. But this Eevee has such a good role on sub skills, helping bonus, berry finding. Now because of these 2 stats, and because we know that it's going to be fire type berry, Flareon becomes a really good choice. In actual fact, remember that helping bonus, considering this as a 33% production boost, is actually well outbalances the main skill chance down, the 20% reduction in skill trigger. So I'm not actually too upset considering that helping bonus is very powerful. So let's have a look at the numbers and see if this would become a good Flareon for the Entei event. So why don't we compare it again to Speediquil, because remember that Cyndaquest, I'm already decided that it will be on the team. So it's a question of, is this better than the other Typhlosion, the not as good Typhlosion? Now, one thing to note is that milk and cacao don't really add to keema corn curry. There are some other curries that use these two ingredients, but that's not the focus of my Entei event. And also as a result, so while ingredient finder isn't too harmful on a skill specialist, level 50 being ingredient finder, I'm not seeing much benefit from it. I'll probably only invest this to level 30. So we're going to look at it at level 30. So these are the stats for the Flareon at level 30, and we're going to assume no main skill seeds used. And I've got fire type favorite berry set on. So it will produce about 157 fire berries, a total strength of about 20,000. The calculator doesn't value expand pot. So we'll consider this as a way to improve our Charizard because of the cooking pot power up. But let's focus on the ingredient and the berry output. Does the helping bonus plus berry finding help this Flareon enough? Now, this one's a bit weird. Skill specialist, now this is a bit of a niche point, and it's a nuance of the calculator. Helping bonus does not count the average of 23% speed boost for skill specialist. So Flareon is being severely undervalued here. Let's go over to have a look at our Speediquil again first. Speediquil counts 23% speed boost. So it gets 43,000 strength from all the other stuff added together. Now to look at Flareon as about a 25% speed boost, I need 4 helping bonus team members in order to see a real value. If I leave that empty, Flareon will actually count as 5% only. Again, I'm not actually 100% sure why RenNX decided to do it this way. I just know that they do it this way. Now in this case, we get 25,000 in strength, in total strength, and about 4 triggers of expand pot per day. Now I could use these triggers in the week prior, on the Sunday prior, in order to build up that expand pot to cook an even stronger dish. So I'm not against investing in a Flareon anyway. The question is whether I will actually use it during the week. I will have good camp ticket on both weeks, so the expand pot becomes less necessary since I can always cook the strongest dish anyway. If you can't cook the strongest dish because of a limited pot size, well then Flareon will be worth a little bit more for you. To me though, at 25,000 berry and ingredient strength, unless this Flareon is enabling Charizard to dump its resources into the pot, this Flareon is very weak. In fact, coming back to our Speediquil situation here, we're gonna leave it as 4 helping bonus teammates. A Speediquil will produce 44,000, almost double that of Flareon because of its amazing stats. So in this case, it's actually better to run Speediquil than it is to run Flareon, especially considering that I am still keeping keema corn curry as the preferred dish and not something that uses milk or cacao like Dream Eater butter curry. So then there's a lot more value in running Speediquil, even if not fully invested, than a Flareon. The extra skill boost for fire types, well, I don't really see a huge amount of value in doing that for Flareon because again, I'm running good camp ticket. I'm going to have a pretty big pot size already. It would mainly be enabling Charizard to dump more ingredients. So I probably will invest in the Flareon on the Sunday before and start expanding that pot to build up a large dish for Monday morning. And then I would only swap it in occasionally if I find that Charizard is getting way too much ingredients. So it is a bit sad to see that Flareon, despite having helping bonus and berry finding, its berry output is kind of mediocre. As for my Growlithe situation, I've got several Growlithe that I've considered, and I won't go through the calculator because there's just too much to look at. I'll show you guys my logic and what actually ended up being better. Now, I've actually got 2 really good Growlithes here. This one has helping bonus, helping speed, so reach that max speed. 53% overall production increase, which is really good. But the problem is I'm not using Growlithe for its skill generally speaking, and its level 30 is sausage, and I don't need any more sausage for my ingredients during these 2 event weeks. I need herbs. And besides that, there's really nothing else going for this Growlithe later on if I decide to keep investing in the future. For this event, my main focus will be just an Arcanine at level 30, but I want that level 30 to have herbs because there's really nothing else that can do herbs besides Typhlosion. This one's also quite good as well. In fact, this one has herbs, it has skill trigger, it has helping bonus. My only concern is I don't have enough materials to take it up to level 50. I've actually never spent a single Growlithe candy and I've only got 500 and I can only take it up to about level 30. Plus its EXP down. So for a Pokemon that probably won't see the light of day outside of the Entei event, and that the helping bonus is just not achievable with any reasonable amount of resources spent, this is actually not that good. And given that the skill generally speaking is not that useful, the skill trigger isn't great either, which has led me down the path of one of these 3 other Growlithes. The first one is because of the helping bonus. Unfortunately though, even though it has herbs at level 30, every other stat is just kind of bad. There's almost no future for this Growlithe. There's no good stats here, there's no good stats over here either. Ingredient Finder is good for the event specifically because herbs are the focus, but you can also get some extra herbs because of the extra helpful S if it triggers on Typhlosion or if it triggers on itself. So you could also argue that skill trigger or skill level up would actually be better instead of this Ingredient Finder. But for this event, it's still an okay stat to have. Now, once again, we're going to compare helping bonus to berry finding S. Berry finding is often stronger when you match the favorite berry, but that was the case for berry specialists. I can tell you that that's also the case for Growlithe as a skill specialist as well, because if we really don't count too much of the skill triggers, because I'm not really thinking of investing 4 or 5 seeds on this Growlithe to make it worth using it as a skill specialist, well really we're just focused on the berry and the ingredients. So then the berry output is more important than the skill output. So berry finding is going to be a little better given it's a low skill level than helping bonus. But the problem with this Growlithe is it's got a harmful nature, which will get neutralized long term a little bit later on when it gets level 50, which is fine. This is actually quite a good one to invest in. Once again though, the catch is that I will need level 50. Now with this one, it does have EXP up, so it will gain EXP faster than the other Growlithe that had EXP down. But even if I take all my resources, it will not reach level 50. The other one reached about level 31 or 2. This one only reaches about 37. So we're still not close enough to level 50 for this to be worthy of an investment. Which leaves me with this one. Now this one's a bit awkward. Its skill triggers too late. Its berry finding is good early enough, and it's got herbs at level 30. It doesn't have a harmful nature, but it costs more because of the EXP down. Inventory, look, I don't usually use a lot of skill specialists overnight, so skill specialists which are collected often during the day don't really need inventory. Sleep EXP is an extra bonus, but if I'm not really going to use it for sleeping, I'm not really going to get any benefits from sleep EXP bonus anyway. But it turns out that this one's actually better because berry finding isn't being harmed by speed of help down. So the strength output was actually better. The skill trigger just didn't improve the strength even if we have this Growlithe trigger on itself consistently and counting those berries. And that's mainly because of a low skill level. Now, considering all factors, this one's actually best for the Entei event. So I at first considered this one, but then I thought about it again and I said, look, maybe in the future Arcanine could make a comeback. We may find it useful. It's better to invest sort of mediums to long term instead of just the very short term. So I'm happy with this option as well, considering that it will be about the same as the other one once I reach level 50. but it has skill trigger early, whereas this one has skill trigger late. I think I should be happy with the fact that, well, Growlithe isn't the most important Pokemon anyway, so I'm happy to just go with a mediocre one, so I can live with this, especially with EXP up. So this will probably be my team towards the end of the week when I run out of energy pillows, with Ralts Disney and Dumbreon changing out to other options. Hopefully I get a better Vulpix before the event so I can use Vulpix. I need that corn and I would love those berry finding. And then whatever I need to complete certain dishes, well, that will fill up the last slot on the team if I don't run Dumbreon. Or if I have enough ingredients, then I'll just run a berry specialist, maybe off type. So not a fire type, maybe my Walrein or my Feraligatr. So hopefully that's given you guys some sort of insight into how I'm team building. Of course, every account is different. If you guys want help with how to team build or rate your Pokemon, you can get help from my community via my Discord. The link is in the description below. If you have any specific questions, I can try and answer them in the comments section, but it is a very complex consideration in terms of team building. I may not be able to answer every single question from everybody. Good luck with the event. Wait and see what I have to say about Piggy's free-to-play account and her Entei team building. Please consider to like and subscribe.